Okay. Very well. Back again. Second day in a row. And, wait a second. Okay. Alright, you know what? This is fine. This is day 2. And today we are going to be checking the Mustang Boss 302. Now, this car, first of all, not disclaimer, but more to talk about the car itself. This is a car that I know very well. This is a car I've driven a lot, and unlike the last car we saw, this isn't made by Kunos. This is a mod, so there might be a lot of things that are different from the stock car, and those sort of things I'm going to be talking about. Now, first impressions of the car itself. It is a really good interior. This is a very accurate interior. However, the car I drove did not have that stick shift, it did not have that shift. It had a ball shift. Maybe it was because it was switched back then. What else about the interior? The interior is a bit less nicer in the real car I saw. However, the dashboard itself, the lights, the clock over the side, the knobs, the brake paddle over there, I don't know what it's officially called. Everything about this car, even from the mats, is pretty darn accurate. Over there should be, in the real car, there should be these little buttons, not buttons, little holes that show up for the stereo. And that's where the audio would normally come from. And speaking of the car itself and how it was made, this car counts with 4 speeds. The one I drove only counted with 3. So it'll be nice to have a bit more gears in this car, to say the least. But now, enough of that. Let's get driving. Alright. Now, unlike the last car we drove around this track, this is a boat. So this is gonna be much harder to properly drive, especially since I'm not used to taking cars like these on windy circuits like the Nürburgring. But it's fine, we're gonna make it work as best as we can, right? Now, why did I choose this car to be the second car I talk about? Well, clearly, not clearly. I like to think of this car as a car you'd stick with, right? Because when I say that I've driven one of these cars, I mean it in the way that my family has owned this exact model for, well, maybe not exact with all the differences, but we've owned a Boss 302 for a while now. Little backstory in that same car. I'm gonna put a picture of it right now. This car was originally bought by some random guy I would never meet at this point. However, that random guy sold it to an uncle of ours, and he really liked this car back then. And he did like the car. He realized that he was gonna have a wedding soon, and he needed the money. Now, clearly, would you use that? Well, that money, personally, I would also sell this car and use it to have a wonderful experience with the love of my life. They're still together. They have a child, actually, and it's really beautiful. Now, who that car went to? My dad. He was the one that took care of it. Once again, he really liked this car. It is a beautiful car. It is just such a different experience to drive compared to anything else, honestly. And, well, since I'm still driving it now, it means that it's stuck with us. So, just like this car, this channel is gonna be something I kind of want to stick to. I want to keep working on it, doing better. I downloaded a editing app so I could start actually editing the videos. This last one, terrible video. I don't know if anyone's ever gonna see it, but God, there's a lot of things that after I finished it, after I uploaded it, I thought about it for a bit, and I realized, man, I could do better, honestly. So that's what I'm gonna try doing in this video. Taking the Mustang up here to the antenna tower. If I remember correctly, this is like the second highest point in the entire circuit, or the highest point. Yeah. Now, enough about the history of the car itself. Well, my history with it. Let's talk about the car itself, you know? Like, how does it handle? How does it drive? Now, I'm assuming the way they made this car was to make it seem as brand new as possible, make it as proper to drive as a car like this could be. You know, being an American V8 from the 1970s. I don't know if this is the 70 or the 69 version of this car. But what I will say about this car in real life is that, like many cars back then, this thing was a straight up coffin on wheels. What do I mean by that? As you can see, the seat belts are very lackluster. This thing was a chunk, it is a chunk of metal. It's just a metal box going who knows how fast you're driving it. Either way, I would not trust a crash in this thing from, at what, 30 kilometers? This is just a very old, beautiful, but dangerous car to drive. And in real life, this thing, I'm assuming with the age, every piece attached to it kind of began deteriorating somewhat. It's not aligned properly. The steering wheel, you know, it's I forgot the component of it to make the car drive easier, but that also deteriorated, and now the power steering, that's what it was, is basically non-existent. So in real life, a regular Mustang Boss 302 is not only a boat to drive, but it's a pain to drive. Also, where I live, there's a lot of sun, and that exact same sun turns this car into a drivable sauna. And trust me, in traffic with a car like this being this terrible to drive, the last thing you want is to be uncomfortable with the sun just roasting you inside this car. Oops. And yeah, you know, it is truly a beautiful car. One of the classics, right? I was talking to a friend about this a few days ago, and he said a car like this is the car, you know? It's one of those pure American dreams. But that dream was a long time ago. This thing kind of is terrible to drive nowadays. But in the sim, this is actually really fun. Same as the Nissan that I drove last time. You can feel the body transfer, and this thing has unnecessary amount of torque, so I need to be very careful with my inputs, because the last thing I want to do is just spin this around and send me into a wall. Not like last time. I'm not repeating that again. I've learned my lesson. Yep. Yeah, the back of this car really wants to just go off, you know? Like it just wants to go in its own direction. And in real life, it does the exact same thing too. There's already been, what, 2 times I've lost the rear? However, the one thing I really like about these cars, that it might not be true, but this is how I experience them, is that they have so much torque in the back. The back just wants to move uncontrollably. However, these are muscle cars. Muscle cars are very front heavy. They're very front loaded. They have a huge hood and a huge engine to back it up. So while there's a lot of power going out on the back, the front kind of allows it to stay stable. So even though the back wants to squirm around everywhere it wants to, it'll still follow where the front is going. And honestly, that's a really nice thing about this car specifically. And you know, maybe this is why a lot of them are being raced in classic style races, because they're just beautiful to drive. That might be it. That might not be it. But what I do know is that for all of its flaws, for all the bad ways it's aged, and for the danger it has when you're driving one of these in real life, the car itself will forever always just be a beautiful thing to drive. Because even if you're scared shitless while driving this, and I know I would be in real life, what, 180 kilometers? Jesus Christ. Hell nah. Hell nah. It still feels great. It's a very nice car. And you know, I actually kind of wish our car had this interior. This is a really nice interior. Look at the wood. Clearly it's fake wood, but with the logo and everything, this car looks really nice. Oh, don't mind that. Alright, so just like last time, a little yap lap. Sure, yap lap. Now we're gonna try to give this car a proper out lap. I mean, hot lap. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. That the end just wants to leave you. It just wants to go in its own direction, in its own momentum. But it's great for inducing oversteer. That, hey, you know, it's what a lot of people talk about, steering with your feet. And this car is the perfect example of a very easy car to steer with your feet, alongside, not really, but Formula cars. And speaking of racing cars, this is something I'm gonna try doing in this channel as well. I'm gonna try racing some MX-5s, because I've never done that. I have iRacing, but I've only done Formula and Rallycross. And speaking of Rallycross and rally in general, that is also another type of content I would really like to do on this channel. And you know, not only driving and racing and stuff, but I do want to make more content of different things. Honestly, just treat this channel like whatever I want to talk about, whatever I want to do, I'll just put it here, and hopefully someone sees it. Hopefully someone likes it. And if that person that's watching right now does end up liking it, hey, I'm really glad you've enjoyed this yap so far. Again, this is gonna be a very basic video, but I'm gonna give it more love. I'm gonna make it much. I give it a bit more effort than last time. Last time it was just a terrible video, right? I really hope that with time I make more things I'm proud of, because I know for a fact that last video was not something I would be very proud of if I'd given it that time it needed. Alright, coming up on this exact same corner, I really like this area of the track. How after Foxhole, that is, I think that's the name, you get up here, and from here on it's just downhill. I'm not sure how this would feel in real life, but honestly for me, this is probably one of the second most fun part of the track. That alongside the 3 trees section that I kind of touched on last video. Alright. Oh shit, oh shit. No, 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 no. Also, one thing these cars are awful at doing is braking. Because, you know, we really forget how important things like ABS are in day-to-day driving, and I experienced that myself a while back with the same car. Hydroplaning is one of the most terrifying things that can happen while driving, and maybe modern cars still fall victim to it, but in a car like this it's just even more terrifying. I don't know what to tell you. Also, that locking up. Ah, shit. Alright. And you know, the worst part is when you're locking up and everything, your brain instinctively tells you to just keep the brake on for as long as possible because you want to stop, but it's very counterintuitive the way you have to actually lift off the brake a bit for the wheels to regain traction, regain spin, and then you can start applying pressure back again. And it's just very counterintuitive to what a lot of people think, and that's why this is... I mean, even if I really find danger driving this, and not to say like I'm the best driver out there, but I like to think that I know how to properly drive in a way that's safe. I would not trust myself being the co-driver in one of these cars, because I barely trust myself driving this. And you know how people are, they trust themselves more than they should, and yeah, I fall victim to that. But man, this is just a scary car to drive. It's so sketchy. Anyways, we're reaching the most fun part, and honestly probably the most dangerous part if I were to be driving this in real life, of the track. The 3 trees. Alright. We're coming up on the first tree. Alright. We send it through. Brake here. Hit this apex. Get some of the curb here. Alright, second tree. Alright. I will say, since this thing is a boat, it can actually properly take some curves. And I'm not just saying that because of the sim, because oh shit. Because, okay, third tree. I actually once did a curve with the real car, and it just took it like a champ. I don't know what to tell you. For this car to be a boat, it's also very difficult to upset track-wise. Like, depending on where you're driving, it's gonna be very planted, but that doesn't mean it won't want to lose grip on the back, as I've been saying, every once in a while. Alright. Coming up here, just keep it straight through this section. Lift off, alright. And we're probably not gonna have the balls take the following section as fast as we did last time. I do not want to crash there again, personally. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you wanna watch someone butcher a hot lap after how long this was. And if I don't crash here, this time I will include the time I had at the end. I still don't know how to check it from right here. That's probably something I should be able to learn later on. Alright, had to lift off a bit there so I didn't go crashing into the wall, but now we're on the straight. And while I'm here, just taking the view of the virtual Nürburgring. Well, yeah, it was Nürburgring, right? The town. I just want to say thank you to anyone that might eventually stumble upon this, whether it's just one person or 10 or 100, I don't know. Just leave a comment. I do want to see what people think about this, because honestly, just the fact that I had actually managed to make something and put it up there for people to watch had me really hyped up, even if no one watched it yet, maybe, I don't know. Just the fact that I did that just had me excited in a way I hadn't felt like before. And I woke up like an hour ago, so I ate breakfast and this was the first thing I began to do. Whew. Alright, with that said, thank you all for watching. Thank you for watching. That one person that's gonna eventually watch this, hopefully. And, well, let me just give it a little... Wait. Nah, not here. Not yet. No, there's no handbrake here, I forgot. Well, anyways, that was the Mustang Boss 302 video.